Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Perfect Acceleration Sim Racing, and welcome back to the PASR MX-5 Cup. You join myself, Jack Worrell, in the commentary box once again for round number 3 here at Croft. Of course, the wonderful images you are seeing in the background, all produced by Tom O'Farrell from 2F Media Productions, and our series organiser, Mick Sutton at PASR. Round number 2, if you joined us at Knockhill, it was very, very close indeed. Whilst we didn't have the mass numbers of cars that we can usually expect on the circuit, that was due to sort of other racing commitments, real-life racing commitments, and the Junior Saloon Car Championship Scholarship, of which we gave away an entry just a few weeks ago. That took place on sort of last weekend, so a few drivers getting prepared for that meant that they had to just take a back seat at Knockhill. We've got a much busier grid here this evening for round number 3 at Croft, and then we go to Castle Combe in a week's time, and then over to Alton Park on the 7th of March, and then we round it all out quite aptly at Brands Hatch. The GP layout as well, one of the slightly faster circuits that we have on the calendar. In terms of Croft, it's quite a tricky circuit to nail because whilst it doesn't look like it on a track map, you do massively have to focus on that momentum, and there are some slightly slower sections as well. Going into the final sector at the complex and the hairpin, having that minimum speed as high as possible will really affect your lap time, and the drivers will be finding that out right around now because we do have qualifying underway. And in terms of practice times, before we get into qualifying, the top 6 drivers in practice were all separated by 0.6 of a second, and that's how close they are on the timing screen. This is how close they are in the championship. Carl Felbus, the first person to do the double, he managed to qualify on pole position and get the fastest lap in one of the 2 races, but of course scoring max points in both race 1 and race 2, bringing home 2 wins and keeping quite a good streak in the championship, finishing 2nd in the first round, 4th in race 2 at round 1, and then, like I say, getting to the top step of the podium both times at round number 2. Jordan Taylor only 4 points back, tied for 2nd place with Luke Sintler. Then we go back to Nathan Williams, 2 points back. Then we get to more ties from there. So Nathan Williams, like I say, on joint 4th with Harley Connolly and James Pepper. 2 points back from that. We've got Leo Bell, Stanley Donaldson, who I don't think is attending this evening, was only 1 point back from there. Of course, drop scores have now been applied, which keeps the championship super, super close right the way until the very end, and you cannot drop either race 1 or race number 2 at Brands Hatch. But what you do get is a drop race, so you don't necessarily have to drop the entire round. So this evening, if you don't have a brilliant race number 1 and score quite poorly, you can drop that specific race. You don't need to drop all points scored at that round. But qualifying, like I say, is underway, and we will slowly get the drivers improving upon their lap times, and this is what they will be aiming for. Of course, we do get prizes, not only championship prizes, but we get race prizes as well. Why not mix that into the prize pool? So if you finish 1st, 2nd or 3rd, you get £5 cash. So for getting on the podium, there's a nice financial incentive there, and that's why we see drivers fighting tooth and nail to get onto that podium. And come the end of the season, once championship points have all settled out, drop scores have been applied, and the provisional points turned into the confirmed points, what we do get is ever more prizes. If you win the championship, you get £60 in cash. If you finish 2nd, £40, and if you finish 3rd, you get £20 in cash. So throughout not just the season, you're not just aiming for those financial rewards come the end of the season, you are fighting for them throughout as well. So the best way to do that is get yourself on pole position. That will stand you in good stead for the race. Of course, you get a bonus point for pole position. At the moment, provisional pole goes the way of Jordan Taylor with a 1 minute 33.635. Harley Connolly, he's less than a 10th back. However, he is in the pit lane, so maybe looking for a late improvement. There is Sam Chilton, a newcomer making his debut not only in the MX-5 Cup, but to PASR as well. And there's a good little background to Sam Chilton. His dad runs a karting circuit in the Midlands at Lichfield, but what he has done as well is get his hands on a PASR rig. You can see down at the bottom there. You can hire a sim rig, or in fact, you can buy one as well. If you do buy one of these PASR rigs like Sam Chilton, why not? It may just give you the edge. And Sam is clearly making the most of that because he's 3/10 up in Sector 1 alone. He's got a full second to find, but he's definitely going the right way about it. If he's 3/10 up in Sector 1, he might be able to continue that trend through Sector 2 and Sector number 3. Leo Bell, he's returning after a week off last week. He is, only 3.5 tenths back in provisional P3. 6 tenths back from that is Luke Sintler. 9 tenths off pole is Kieran Roberts. And then we get back to the man we're looking at the moment, Sam Chilton, just working his way through sunny in and sunny out. Quite a quick section of circuit. You've just got to be careful not to dip a wheel over the white line onto the grass, because that's really where you start to lose that time and lose that crucial momentum That is so important in these MX-5s. Runs slightly wide there, does Sam Chilton. That's on his way through the quick left-hander on the run up towards the complex. He's lost a lot of time in sector 2, so maybe not quite what he's looking for. Is he going to go for the wide line through the final corner? Yes, he is. Cuts back, late apex. Bit of oversteer, though. That will have scrubbed off a little bit of extra speed. So I don't think we will see any sort of improvement this time from Sam Chilton. However, on provisional pole position is that man there, James Pepper, through the final corner. And over the line he went to put a 1 minute 33.417 on the board. He's only, what, 700ths clear of Luke Sintler at the moment. So he's got a lot of time to find. But, of course, Luke Sintler doing very well indeed to get his car also onto the provisional front row with a good time. Joining the duo up at the top is Nathan Williams. A good lap from him last time through. He managed to post a 1 minute 33.533. That puts him just about over a tenth away from the front spot. James Pepper riding on board now as he works his way through the Jim Clark S's again. Just got to watch the apex and make sure you don't run over the curb, because you can cost yourself a little bit of time. Keeping it within track limits on the exit as well, whilst that tarmac on the outside is very smooth, very flat, and almost draws you in to open the corner up as much as possible. It can really work against you. And of course, going over track limits, that's the last thing you want. You will get yourself that lap time invalidated. But at the moment, it seems like a fairly well put together lap from James Pepper. Down in sector 1, he'll break the beam through sector 2 in a couple of moments' time, and we may see if he's improved. No, he hasn't. 8/10 down, and then washes very wide through the complex. You could see the push understeer there as the change in direction took place. Nathan Williams, he's up 200ths of a second in sector 1. Can he improve upon that ever more through sector 2? This is... let's have a quick look. This is his 3rd lap at the moment, or he's on his 4th. He's completed 3 laps already. Heading into the complex, he will hold the gear. He's up 4/10 in sector 2. This will be a monumental improvement from Nathan Williams if he can hook up the final corner. Looks for the late apex, grabs it there, watches the oversteer on the exit, keeps it nice and tidy within those white lines. Towards the line he will come. He's only got a 10th to find. Will we see Nathan Williams on the all-time top of the times? Yes, we will. A brilliant lap from Nathan Williams with a 1 minute 33.243. That puts him on provisional pole. He was closely chased down there by Kyle Felbus with a 1 minute 33.316. So he's now brought that margin back towards 7/10 or 700ths of a second, pardon me. James Pepper, having set a lap earlier on, quickly dipped into the pit lane, but is returning to the circuit now, still with just over 6 minutes of the session still to go. So we could see some late on improvements from everybody else left in that top 6, but don't rule out Leo Bell. Of course, he's had a week off, but he might be able to put that week off towards some practice, and we could see Leo Bell getting ever quicker as the evening wears on. Kieran Roberts, keep an eye on him. Of course, newcomer Sam Chilton. It's really good to get a new driver back on the grid again, because you can almost watch the driver evolve and adapt to the cars and the drivers they are racing alongside with. That's where you can almost see the driver really work their way up through the order. Kyle Felbus through the Jim Clark S's in towards Sunny In. Look for a late apex, and again, just watch that grass on the exit. Kyle Felbus gets as close as I think he dare. On the way out, very well put together, very smooth. You can just see the inputs on the steering wheel. So conservative, trying not to flick the car sideways and scrub off any extra speed that he may have. Into the complex, he's up ever more. We could see a new provisional pole sitter here. Nathan Williams getting caught up behind a little bit of traffic. I think that's Leo Bell. Carving his way through the final corner. Let's have a quick look. Is that Nathan Bell? It's Nathan Bell, pardon me, just up the road. But Kyle Felbus, all eyes on you. Towards the line he will go. 7/10 to find. Over the line, will we see him even more into the 33s? Yes, we will. Overall fastest sector 1, sector 2 and sector 3. Leo Bell on provisional pole position with a 1 minute 33.200. So the gap now only 43 thousandths of a second for pole position here at Croft. We said how close it was. The top 6 in practice separated by only 6/10 of a second. And we could see closer times being chalked up towards the end of the session. Nathan Williams jumps out of the way up the road. Here is James Pepper. We said he'd retake into the circuit, so this is the lap led off by the outlap onto another flying lap. He's getting a little bit of draft assistance there by the looks of that. That's from Olivia Kronoska, just slightly up the road into Tower Bend. The pair of them will go. James Pepper up in sector 1 by 400ths of a second. Olivia Kronoska pulls over to the left-hand side, but James Pepper, whether it be slightly distracted, he may have had to slightly alter his line into Tower Bend. He just got a flick of oversteer on the exit. Through the Jim Clark S's he will go. Is he going to be nice and greedy on the apex curbing? Yes, he is. We saw Kyle Felbus make the most of that on what was his provisional pole time. towards Sunny in goes James Pepper, flicks the car in very aggressively, forces the car to make the decision. Slightly too aggressive that time, and James Pepper goes over the grass, and that will bring an end to what was shaping up to be quite a quick lap from James. However, he's still got more than enough time to do it. 3.5 minutes of the session still to go, so plenty of time for further improvements. And you can see, yeah, that has substantially cost him there, almost half a second down from what we've seen him do so far in sector number 2. Over the line now comes Thomas Potter. Does he improve upon his time? I don't think he does that time through. No, he hasn't. Yes, he did, pardon me, a 1 minute 34.993, so a very minor improvement. It does draw him closer to Sam Chilton in provisional P9, but it won't be enough, and a massive moment heading his way through Hawthorne, and that will bring an end to his lap. Clairvaux being turn number 1, that's a very tricky corner because you're arriving at pretty much the highest speed you'll get to around this Croft circuit. And it's not necessarily a blind apex, but because it's so flat, you've just got to aim for the tyre bale almost, flick the car in, try not to run wide as well, because the gravel trap really does almost encroach onto the circuit. You've got to be so careful just not to even, well, pretty much do what Harley Connolly's done there, run slightly wide and it will kill your momentum, and the moment carries on for Harley Connolly. He was up in sector 1 by 74 thousandths of a second, but that will bring an end to, again, what was shaping up to be quite a good lap. It seems like for the moment, Sunny in and Sunny out is the hotspot for minor mistakes. That just costs him a very small amount. James Pepper, we said he was improving. This time gets through Sunny in just about. Sunny out, the car hanging on for dear life, just trying to find the grip on the way through. He's over a tenth up through sector 1. Can he carry on that trend through sector 2? In towards the complex he goes. Very aggressive on the entry. However, sector 2 he's slightly down, but he will have aerodynamic assistance from the cars up the road. The first of those being Thomas Potter. Through the final corner goes James Pepper. Nice and easy on the throttle on the way out. Bounces over the grass, I think in pure desperation to get the car straight and back onto the start-finish straight. Over the line he will go. He's clocking up as a 1 minute 33.219. So onto the front row of the grid provisionally goes James Pepper, and within 19 thousandths of a second. So the top 3 separated by less than half a tenth, 43 thousandths of a second between Carl Felbus, James Pepper and Nathan Williams. Luke Sintler, he's only about a quarter of a second back. Whereabouts is Luke at the moment? He's just working his way out of Sunny out and up towards the complex. However, he's down just over a tenth through sector 1. Sector 2 has he pieced it together this time. Washes slightly wide at the apex, jumps on the brakes, the nose of the car dives towards the ground, and he flicks the car into the initial right. Now into the hairpin, he will go through the final corner. Again, late apex through there, gets on the throttle nice and early. He recovered a bit of the time lost in sector 1. Sector 2, like I say, slightly quicker. Sector 3, does he improve? He's got a bit of time to find. Over the line he will go, and it won't be an improvement from him, unfortunately, for Luke Sintler. His fastest so far, a 1:33.487. Last time through, a 1:33.548. So a bit of time to find. Jordan Taylor over the line. Do we see an improvement from him? Didn't clock up. That could have potentially been an outlap, but Jordan Taylor last time through, not quite on the pace he was expecting, I'm sure. Olivia Kronoska, however, on for a very good improvement at the moment. This could shuffle her up a good couple of places. Over half a second up in sector 1, but gave up a second in sector 2. So a lot of driving to do through this final corner. Looking for the late apex, you can see the car struggling for front end grip. I think, yes, the car flicks in, the weight transfers, and you're asking so much from that front axle. It just doesn't quite give Olivia the turn in she would expect. Over the line she will go to post a 1 minute 35.492, not the improvement she was expecting. Who else have we got on slightly faster lap times? Qualifying has come to an end, so the checkered flag is out. Olivia just got over the line to potentially take another lap in the book. Kyle Felbus crosses the line and does not improve upon his time. Here is Luke Sintler. He's up a sole 100th in sector number 1. Sector 2, can he piece it together again? We see sector 2 slightly slower usually, but much faster this time from Luke Sintler. A massive improvement not only on his time, but on the overall fastest time. 44 thousandths quicker than anybody has gone so far. Through the final corner, Luke Sintler powers towards the start-finish line. Will we see an improvement from him? The checkered flag is being readied. He's got over a quarter of a second to find. Over the line, breaks the beam, and does improve to a 1 minute 33.260. However, that is not enough to shuffle him up a place. He missed out on that opportunity by only 18 thousandths of a second. So he will start on the outside of the second row of the grid, unless we can see a massive improvement from Jordan Taylor. Luke Sintler, pardon me, did improve that time through. like I say, but that means the top four are separated by only 600ths of a second. Absolutely nothing between that top four. Nathan Williams through the complex. He will now pitch the car in towards the final corner, and a bit too aggressive. That will cost him a good lap, and you suspect maybe into the pit lane. Yes, he goes. James Pepper through the final corner into the pit lane as well. He was following Thomas Potter, and everybody else follows suit. So I think that is all she wrote for qualifying. But look at that top four gap, 600ths of a second. Carl Felbus with that 1 minute 33.200. That's definitely what he needed at exactly the time he needed it. If you think qualifying was close, wait until we let all 13 of them go hell for leather on the first few laps. It will be very close indeed, and hopefully we end up with two very, very close races. Of course, the format of this evening, we get two 20-minute races. The first, the grid being decided on qualifying times as per usual. Race number two is a full reverse grid. If you take the checkered flag in race number one and complete a certain amount of laps, I think it's within 75% of the race distance, you are eligible for that reverse grid position. Joining me in the commentary box once again is Carl Felbus. We spoke to you at every single opportunity at Knockhill. Well, I guess we're slowly starting to make a bit of a trend here, Kyle. Back in the commentary box once again, pole position only by 19 thousandths of a second. The top three separated by 60 thousandths of a second. It's going to be a close one tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry. Yeah, definitely. I think this track it's very technical, but also it's very flowy, so very easy to try and get close lap time. So I think with everyone being so close, I think it's going to make for some great racing tonight.
And we did see a little bit in qualifying, not so much at Donington Park, and there wasn't too much opportunity for it at Knockhill. And we did mention it at Donington Park as well. The aerodynamic assistance, when you're tucked up behind a car, it never really seemed to make much of an improvement on your lap time. At Croft, it seems like a few drivers have been improving. Is that maybe just the nature of the circuit, or is it me just sort of grasping that from thin air? It seems like the aerodynamic assistance is making a bit more of an effect this evening than anywhere else before.
Yeah, definitely. I think because of the long straights that Croft has, the slipstream is quite powerful here. I mean, I personally didn't get any slipstream on my lap, which was unfortunate, but I know some drivers would have, and that would have definitely benefited them. So going into the race, I think being ahead could be a disadvantage, and then, if I drop back behind, that could play into my hands. So.
And I'm almost going to set this question up for as a two-parter, and hopefully have the opportunity to talk to you again later this evening to follow up on that. Croft, how do you feel around here? I think we asked a similar question at Knockhill. Now you've put some more time into it and really, I guess, got to grips with the circuit. What are the confidence levels like this evening? Because like you say, it is quite a technical circuit, very flowing as well, but it's also very flat, so you can't use as much of the elevation change and maybe the camber of the corner to pitch the car in. Sort of, what's it feeling like from your perspective?
I think I'm a bit more confident going into this evening. I know at Knockhill it was very easy to lose the car, so there was some nerves there that I'd hit a curb funny and the car would go round. But at Croft, there's a lot more confidence. I think first sector, it's so technical, and that's got to be my favourite part on the track. So I think we'll try and use that to my advantage and try and pull a gap through there.
Great stuff. Well, best of luck. Congratulations on pole position and getting that all-important bonus point for this evening. But like I say, best of luck for race number one. Hopefully we get the opportunity to speak to you between race one and race two.
Cheers, Jack.
Cheers, Kyle. So great to have a chat there with our pole sitter, Kyle Felbus, once again on pole position. He's making a good habit of that at the moment. So the grid will slowly start to form. And I guess hedge your bets this evening. The top four, like I say, separated by only 600ths of a second. But you can't rule out Jordan Taylor. He managed to bring home a win last time at Knockhill. Did he? No, he managed to win race number two at Donington Park, but did make the podium at Knockhill, finishing fourth and third, getting himself some good points. Luke Sintler, he was on the podium twice at Knockhill, finishing second on both occasions. James Pepper, he finished third in race number one at Knockhill, got the fastest lap in one of the races as well, so you can't really rule him out for another podium this evening. So there's a lot of drivers we really need to be watching very, very closely indeed. In terms of how they line up, here is the grid. So Kyle Felbus lines up on pole position with James Pepper alongside, 19,000 separating the pair of those two in qualifying. Row number two, made up of Nathan Williams and Luke Sintler. Again, Nathan's been getting quicker and quicker throughout the season. Luke is so consistent in that top five. Jordan Taylor lines up in fifth with Harley Connolly, for company on row number three. And then we get back to Leo Bell for Bell Motorsport and Kieran Roberts lining up seventh and eighth. Leo Bell, the sister car to Nathan Bell that we all get to in a few moments' time. Then we get back to newcomer to the series, Sam Chilton. He lines up on the left-hand side of row number 5 in 9th place. He has Thomas Potter alongside for Teapot Racing. Then we get back to Harry Dyer, somewhat off the pace this evening. He's in a bit of a bad luck stretch at the moment, but hopefully he can improve upon his previous results in the championship. Olivia Kronoska lines up in 12th, and there is the second of the 2 open-ender cars. That's being Nathan Bell on the very tail end of the grid, only 4 tenths away from picking off Olivia Kronoska, who did improve towards the end of the session. So race number 1 very shortly getting underway in around about a minute's time. Kyle Felvis, he's got the inside for turn number 1, heading in towards Clairvaux. So ideally where you'd want to be, but if you get pinched in towards that apex, it can massively compromise your run on the way through Hawthorne, and then even at the chicane as well. The chicane definitely going to be a hot spot on the first sort of few laps, because that's where everybody really pieces together, and 2 wide through there is a hard job. And I mean, these guys, they will try 3 wide, so yeah, definitely through the chicane at sort of turns 3 and 4, I suppose. Will be a very interesting watch. In terms of overtaking opportunities, naturally into turn 1 at Clairvaux, definitely one where you're very hard on the brakes. If you're confident enough, you might just be able to sneak your way through there. Tower Bend at the end of the back straight, again another heavy braking zone, but momentum is so crucial. In towards Sunny Inn, we've seen it done before, we may see it done again this evening. And through the complex, if you can set the car up right, you might just be able to pick up a position there. But the lights are coming on. Race number 1 here at round number 3. Croft is away, and who gets the best start? James Pepper gets a good start, very equal on the front few rows. There's a bit of chopping and changing further back. Harry Dios didn't get the best start, neither too did Olivia Kronoska. Everybody jumping over to the right hand side in desperation to get to the inside for Clairvaux, but in towards turn 1 we may just about see Nathan Williams carve his way up through the inside in towards turn number 2. Yes, we do. So Nathan Williams up into 2nd place. Luke Sintler, he's giving it a go all the way around the outside of James Pepper. He's going to have to really find that grip around the outside. Thomas Potter, unfortunately, has found himself pointing 90 degrees to the direction of travel on the exit of sector number 1. Sam Chilton hasn't had the best start to his race this evening. He has had a small mistake. It's getting very close up towards Tower Bend. We're almost 3 wide. James Pepper gets a tap from behind, and that sends him into a spin. He does manage to get the moment collected up, I think, with a bit of assistance there from Harley Connolly. And towards the grass goes Jordan Taylor. I think Jordan Taylor, maybe that has come back to bite him slightly. I think he made the initial contact with James Pepper, and he's found himself pointing backwards on the exit of Tower Bend in towards Sunny In, Sunny Out. Kyle Felvis and Nathan Williams already starting to run away. Luke Sintler is trying to do his best to follow them. We're side by side further back. Harley Connolly and Leo Bell on the brakes, and it is Leo Bell that has to give way there on the way, or it is Harley Connolly that had to give way on the way in. A bit of contact on the way out, and they are still absolutely side by side. Leo Bell with a bit of a trip through the grass. It did work for him, however. Leo Bell up into 5th place. Or Harley Connolly, pardon me, up into 5th place. Looking back now at Leo Bell. So we were riding on board with Leo. We saw the contact that just washed him wide. James Pepper and Olivia Kronoska have come to blows in the background. James Pepper backwards once again. He rejoins the circuit in between Thomas Potter and Nathan Bell. Nathan looks to the inside. I think a bit of contact, a late move there from James Pepper, trying to defend the inside, bouncing over the curb. He's got to try and get his way back into that rhythm now and chase down those cars up the road. Over the line goes Sam Chilton. He's trying to make good his escape from the cars behind, but James Pepper, he's got a lot of driving to do if he wants to salvage what is left of his race number 1 aspirations. There is Thomas Potter. He's applying that pressure onto Olivia Kronoska. Through turns number 2 and turn 3 they go. Slightly wide there is James Pepper. You can see Olivia Kronoska with a flick of oversteer. Nathan Bell has had a mistake through turn number 1. I hope that wasn't a tyre bail, but the front of that car looks very poorly indeed. So hopefully Nathan Bell can carry on in this race. Here we see the move for the final couple of spots in the top 10. Thomas Potter, he's shown the outside. Is he going to look for the cutback on Olivia Kronoska through Tower? It doesn't quite work for him this time. Olivia Kronoska, she will have, again, quite a big job defending from Thomas Potter. He's been quick at points, not so quick at others. Not kill didn't really work for him, but we did see a good showcase of pace throughout the race. James Pepper just a little bit further back. Again, he's got a lot of recovering to do in race number 1 here at Croft. Thomas Potter very sideways in towards Sunny In, gets the moment collected up, the car straightened up, but unfortunately loses that position in the top 10 to James Pepper. A little further up the road, we've got Leo Bell continuing to apply that pressure onto Harley Connolly, of course losing that position just a few moments ago. They've got a bit of battling to do, but of course all of this battling will only drop them into the clutches of Harry Dios and Kieran Roberts. Again, Kieran, he's had a couple of good outings this season so far. He finished very well at Donington Park in race number 1. He very well at at Knock Hill as well. So if he can continue that trend, we may just see some more consistent points scored from Kieran Roberts and see him climb his way up through the championship table. Somebody running very wide there. I think that was Harley Connolly through turns 2 and 3. Nathan Williams, he's closed that gap to Kyle Felvis. I looked a few moments ago and it was half a second. It's down to almost a quarter of a second now. After speaking to Kyle, he said the draft assistants will massively play a part here at Croft, and being at the front could almost be a disadvantage. It seems like that is coming true at the moment. I think James Pepper and Olivia Kronoska have come together again. Olivia Kronoska appears very sideways in the background of shot, riding on board with James Pepper looking forward now. That is through the chicane. That's why we said it'd be a hot spot. I think they came together there, whether they tried to go too wide and it didn't work. Jordan Taylor will also work his way through and past James Pepper as well. The battle between Harley Connolly and Leo Bell rages on. Leo Bell all the way around the outside. He had a look in towards Sonny in. Is he going to try and get the cut back? He doesn't have the momentum required. Approaching Sonny out. Further up the road, we're going to see the change for the lead. Potentially Nathan Williams. He looked up the inside on the way into the complex. It didn't really work for him, but he will be applying that pressure to Kyle Felvis, and Kyle will slowly start to feel that, I think, with still 3/4 of the race to go. Kyle has got to keep that car within those white lines. Just try and bridge that gap between himself and Nathan Williams. Harley Connolly has ran wide through the final corner. It was very wide as well, so I don't know whether that was slightly assisted there between the pair of them. But Leo Bell up into P4, Harley Connolly into 5th. James Pepper and Jordan Taylor were going at it very briefly. I think that was through the complex. They are just coming towards the line now and absolutely nose to tail. Harley Connolly elbows his way up the inside of Leo Bell. Leo Bell exits stage left and into the tyre wall, unfortunately. So Harley Connolly forcing his way through, up into 4th for the moment. Kieran Roberts has inherited 5th since he's got past Harry Dios, and Leo Bell now left without too much to do in 7th place. He will want to run away from Sam Chilton, who has just drawn himself up and alongside. In towards Tower Bend they go. Sam Chilton on the inside, Leo Bell on the outside, and Sam up into P number 7. Leo Bell, he will have to be on the attack here, I think, immediately looking to try and work his way back through and past. James Pepper has got back in front of Jordan Taylor on the run in towards Tower. He was later on the brakes, got to the inside, I think even covered off any sort of overlap, and Jordan Taylor into the ward very hard. A bit of a moment on the way through Tower. I think in eagerness to get on the throttle, that fired him towards the Armco barrier. Hopefully we can see further racing from him in this race. Leo Bell has got back through and past Sam Chilton already, so applying that pressure was just enough to work his way back through and in front. Sam Chilton a little to the inside again, just to try and fill his mirrors, I think, on the way towards the complex. It didn't quite work for him. But Leo Bell up into 7th. Again, he's got a big old comeback drive to do if he wants to get back onto the coattails of Harry Dios. Fastest lap of the race posted last time through by Kyle Felvis, a 1:33.385. Through turn 1, you can see the body language of that car. He's really wringing the neck of his Mazda MX-5 Cup car in, I think, desperation to run away from Nathan Williams. He's got that gap back up to 0.6 of a second and will continue to pull away onto the back straight. This is where we see everything swing back the way of Nathan Williams, because he will get sort of maximum draft assistance in towards Tower. He didn't draw himself as close as I thought he would. Jordan Taylor into the pit lane, I'm guessing for repairs after that very substantial impact with the barrier. Nathan Williams with his lights ablaze, just trying to again take Kyle Felvis's eyes off the road ahead and maybe miss a braking point, miss a turn-in point, whatever it may be. Through the very quick right-hander, absolutely flat out in these MX-5 Cup cars before you get it straightened up. Jump on the brakes in towards Sonny in. Through Sonny out goes Kyle Felvis. And that lead gap is coming out. It's getting dangerously close to a second, and that's exactly what Nathan Williams wouldn't want. If you're not within that second, it will drop you out of the aerodynamic assistance, and then you've got to do it on raw pace alone. Luke Sintler 3 seconds back at this point. He will just try and keep that gap comfortable. He's been very consistent throughout the season so far, has Luke Sintler. I think he finished, 5th and 6th at round number 1, finished 2nd both times at Knock Hill, and he's currently sat in 3rd place. So those consistent points, if they keep coming, he's going to have to maybe hope for some slightly poorer rounds from those cars up the road. Here is Harry Dios, leading Leo Bell for the moment. Leo is on the comeback drive of dreams. Over the line he goes and set his personal fastest lap of 1:33.822. He managed to work his way through and past Sam Chilton a few laps ago. Through turn 1, much more aggressive, slightly greedy on the way through. but he is edging closer to the tail of Harry Dios. Through the chicane, the pair of them will go. You can see why you can't go too wide through there, because you straighten up the line when you're flying solo. Onto the back straight he will go, drawing closer and closer and closer. Which way will Harry go? Will he go to the left? Will he go to the right? He's holding the outside, and he didn't really put too much of a fight up against Leo Bell. In towards Tower. Leo goes slightly deep on the brakes. The tail end of the car slightly over-rotates, and Harry Dios, very, very well read indeed. He gets himself back up into 6th place after very briefly spending a bit of time in 7th. All this battling may slowly start to bring Sam Chilton into the mix. Kyle Felbus has indeed pulled away and bridged that gap to over 2nd. In towards the quick right-hander, Leo Bell, he swung the door open, and I don't think Harry Dios was quite expecting him to do it there. In towards Sunny in, Sunny out. They're still absolutely side by side. Is there still an overlap? Yes, there is. They show that there is still an overlap there with a bit of door-to-door contact. In towards the complex, still absolutely side by side. All the way around the outside goes Leo Bell, scrambling for grip on the brakes, down a gear, in towards the complex, and Leo Bell in front into 6th place. Harry Dios is going to have to fight back. He has a look to the inside on the way through the hairpin. Later on the brakes, he will have the preferred line on the way through, but maybe superior momentum on the way out. Not quite for Leo Bell. He's edged onto the grass, just about gets his foot down, and will draw himself back up and alongside, and maybe in front by the time we get to Clairvaux at turn number 1. Yes, he is. Flash of the lights there from Harry Dios, whether that was in maybe slight disagreement as to how that move was made. Harley Connolly from 4th place has spun on the way through Clairvaux, rejoins the circuit behind what is Leo Bell and Harry Dios. Sam Chilton edges his way through as well. The tail end of the car, very loose, dirty tyres, maybe slightly overheated tyres, and Harley Connolly into the wall again. Down into 8th place. Through the chicane goes Harley. I don't think there was contact. I think he did it all on his own. But that means, I think that was from 3rd place, in fact, for Harley. It looked slightly questionable, the rejoin. Harry Dios, a big old moment on the exit of Tower. You can see just how close Sam Chilton has got. Heading up towards the Jim Clark S's, well within draft assistance range is Sam Chilton, so we may see him just about keep tabs with that top 6. Harley Connolly, he's got a bit of driving to do indeed, but of course that now means Kieran Roberts is up into 4th, and the battle we're looking at, what was between Leo Bell and Harry Dios, would have been for 5th. It's now between Dios and Chilton for 6th place. Nathan Williams has fallen away ever more by almost 0.8 of a second now to Kyle Felbus, so 1.8 seconds the gap. There is Harry Dios in the background. You can see Thomas Potter not really too far away at all. Sam Chilton, he's in a brilliant rhythm now, really starting to close up onto the tail end of Harry Dios. Another fastest lap of the race set by our race leader, Kyle Felbus, a 1:33.039, so almost matching his qualifying pace in the race is Kyle Felbus. Sam Chilton over the line, still with 8.5 minutes of the race to go. Not quite as close as I think he would like to be to look for a move in towards Clairvaux. You've got to be very brave indeed, because whilst you do dab the brakes and potentially down a gear, it's so quick into turn 1. You've got to be more than alongside if you want to pick up a place. Harry Dios, he nibbles the curb, that just washes the car wide. It's affected his momentum very slightly, and now we see Sam Chilton make the most of that. He's getting closer and closer and closer. Is he going to go left or right? We've seen Harry Dios try and defend before. Sam Chilton, I think in response, pulled over to the right-hand side slightly too much. That killed a bit of momentum. In towards Tower Bend, they were almost side by side. Sam Chilton pitches the car in and almost looked for the move. Didn't quite work for him. Nibbled the curb and remains in 7th place for the moment. Harry Dios, all of this battling and keeping an eye on that rearview mirror, has just allowed Leo Bell to run away in 5th place. There he goes through shot now. Then we get to the duo we've been looking at. Sam Chilton still giving chase to Harry Dios. Only half a second separating the pair of them. Kyle Felbus' lead remains at 1.9 seconds this lap, up to 2 seconds now. So Nathan Williams maybe not quite as quick as the race leader through Sunny in and Sunny out. That is where it's costing him a little bit of time, maybe through the complex as well. Over the line in a few moments' time go our race leaders with 7.5 minutes of the race to go. Sam Chilton again, hot on the heels. Much quicker through Sector 2 is Sam Chilton for Chile Racing. In towards the hairpin, the pair of them go. Very similar lines. Sam Chilton diving on the brakes slightly harder than Harry Dios, but the car washes wide. Not the exit he will want, and potentially starts to fall away before we even get towards the start-finish line. Over the line goes Harry Dios. Then back up towards Clairvaux. A quicker lap posted last time by Sam Chilton, only by around about 0.5 of a second. In towards turn number 1. Bouncing over the curbs go the pair of them. Then through turns 2 and 3 at Hawthorne, and then through the chicane once again onto that back straight. As I say, speaking to Kyle Felbus, he said it's very technical, but very flowing. And you can see that here because the driver's slightly quicker through the technical sections, really start to close up. But then as soon as it gets to a slightly more flowing section, that's where you can see the pendulum swing the other way. And the drivers that prefer the slightly more flowing track, it goes back their way. Sam Chilton, a big old moment on the exit of Tower Bend, nibbled the curb. I think did more than that, actually, swallowed the curb, and it bottomed out the car. It flicked him sideways. He got it all collected up, but that has really dropped him away from Harry Dios now by over half a second from where he was earlier. So outside of that crucial 1 second margin, Sam Chilton, he's got all that work to do again with only 6 minutes of the race to go this time. Kyle Felvis, that lead gap up to 2.5 seconds now. So Kyle definitely quicker through sectors 2 and 3. That is really where we start to see him pull away. James Pepper into the pit lane and has remained there for the previous couple of laps. So unless he goes back out, he won't be eligible for that reverse grid pole position. Harry Dios through the final corner. He's fallen away again from Leo Bell and back into the clutches of Sam Chilton. He's brought that gap down by almost 1/4 of a second now, so 3/4 of a second the gap between Harry Dios and Sam Chilton for the final spot in that top 6. But at the moment, Luke Sintler again just running around on his own, looking rather comfortable indeed. He's got 11 seconds to the gap behind, to the car behind, that being Kieran Roberts. 2 seconds up the road to Nathan Williams, so he will be able to see him, and I think that will slightly frustrate him as well because he just can't quite unlock the pace that I think he would quite like to get onto the second step of the podium. Up the road, you can see Leo Bell just continuing to pull away, 4.1 seconds clear now of Harry Dios. Runs slightly wide on the way through Tower Bend. He might be able to carry a bit more momentum on the way out as he can jump on the throttle earlier. Up towards the Jim Clark S's goes Leo. He's running a fairly consistent race at the moment. Last time through a 1:35.1. He's overall fastest at 1:34.7. So there's only 4/10 deviation from his best to his recent. So very comfortable indeed at the moment is Leo Bell. There is Kieran Roberts. He's managed to work his way through and past a bit of lap traffic, that being, I think that's Jordan Taylor potentially. Let's have a quick look. Yes, it is. So Jordan Taylor, he's managed to work his way through and past Jordan now a lap down to the top 4. And back to this battle, Sam Chilton. He's looking to the outside this time of Harry Dios. He had to jump on the brakes just to avoid a bit of contact between the pair of them. Heading in towards the complex, they remain as they are. But Sam Chilton, he's going to try and force this mistake. Still with 4 minutes to go. He's got a bit of time in hand. There was contact there. I didn't think it looked close enough. And I think Sam is trying to give that position back without compromising the both of them. So position given back there. Very clever driving and very sportsmanlike driving from Sam Chilton there. And Harry Dios remains in 6th place. Sam Chilton remains in 7th. But it shows, whilst he is new to the championship, he's not afraid to get his elbows out. And 7th place at the moment. What a debut drive for Sam so far. He's definitely getting closer to Harry Dios, or he was. A big old moment on the way through Hawthorne. That will kill his momentum onto the back straight. He's got to be careful though. Any further mistakes like that, Harley Connolly's only 1 second back in 8th place. And he's still being chased down 1.5 seconds away is Thomas Potter. So definitely getting closer. Just looking a little bit further up the order, 2.7 seconds the lead gap. 2 seconds back still is Luke Sintler from Nathan Williams. You can see him in the background, and that's what I mean. Luke Sintler, he'll be able to see Nathan Williams. He just can't quite edge close enough. But since Kyle Felvis managed to pull away and get Nathan Williams out of that aerodynamic assistance, he's just continued to pull away. 3 minutes of the race to go. So still 2 more laps. And Nathan Williams, he's more or less just keeping it within these white lines and trying to get that car home in P2. Kieran Roberts, he's fallen away, 12.5 seconds back now from Luke Sintler. Leo Bell more or less running around on his own since he's pulled away from Harry Dios. Sam Chilton, he's getting closer again for 6th place. He's within a second once again. There is Thomas Potter. He's still giving chase to Harley Connolly. Harley Connolly's still chasing down Sam Chilton. So these 4, if they continue to come together the way they are, we may see these 4 fighting till the very end. A big old moment there for Sam Chilton. I think a bit of a network blip as well. What that has done is drop him. Oh, I was going to say drop him away from Harry Dios. If anything, I think he's got closer. Last time through, 2/10 almost quicker than the car up the road. So Sam Chilton definitely getting closer. By the time they get to Clairvaux at turn number 1, he's within half a second. Harley Connolly, he's fallen away from Sam Chilton. And I think he was hedging his bets on catching up to not only Sam Chilton, but also Harry Dios. Down the back straight, the pair of them go. Sam Chilton getting closer and closer and closer. Within a tenth now, he looks to the outside at Tower Bend. He's tried it a few times, it hasn't worked. Third time's a charm, maybe not this time. Looks for the cutback, tucks back in towards the apex, gets on the throttle, and this time gets a brilliant run. He goes to the outside, then the inside, then the outside. He's trying to find an opening for himself and his Mazda MX-5. Doesn't work on the way through the Jim Clark S's. If he can nail the apex and maybe carry that momentum, we may see a move in towards Sunny Inn. Doesn't work, a bit of a blip, drops further back. And it doesn't look like he's close enough to go for a move this time. A bit of a moment, however, from Harry Dios as he jumps on the brakes. The balance of the car changed through Sunny Inn. Didn't quite get the, I think, entry to Sunny Inn that he wanted. And everything's thrown back the way of Sam Chilton. He looks to the inside on the way to the complex, but that's immediately covered off looking back from Harry Dios. Another fastest lap of the race from Kyle Felbus. Off the road very slightly goes Harry Dios. Got the moment collected up. All of this battling has brought Harley Connolly into the mix. So Harry Dios still just about holding on to 6th place. Sam Chilton trying to make it 6th and trying not to make it 8th at the moment. But Harley Connolly, he's very much there. Going on to the final lap of the race now. As I said, Kyle Felbus with the fastest lap of the race last time through, a 1 minute 33.25. So only 25 thousandths away from his pole position time. Into Clairvaux we go for what will be the final time. Harley Connolly massively closes up on Sam Chilton. He has a little look to the inside, trying just to edge that door open. It doesn't work for him, straight lining his way through the chicane. Be careful on track limits through there, I'm sure. Getting closer and closer and closer is Sam Chilton to Harry Dios. Is he going to have a look to the inside this time at Tower? He's trying to force that move. He's going to have to be later on the brakes. He is. He manages to get the inside. Very late on the brakes is Harley Connolly. Joins up on the both of them. And Sam Chilton edges his way up through the inside. Through the same gap goes Harley Connolly. So Harry Dios, he's gone from 6th to 8th in the space of one corner. Now all eyes on Harley Connolly. Can he make his way up into 6th place? Through the Jim Clark S as the pair of them go. Sam Chilton, is he going to defend on the way in? Yes, he is. He pulls the car over to the right-hand side just to edge that gap. Harley Connolly on the way through. He went off the road and has put Sam Chilton into the wall and potentially into retirement. Over the line goes Kyle Felbus to take the win in race number 1 here at Croft. Nathan Williams finishes in 2nd. Luke Sintler manages to join the podium once again. And Jordan Taylor, the lap traffic, has spun Kieran Roberts through 180 degrees. He spins the car back around the way he needs to be going, but that then all goes the way of Leo Bell. So Leo Bell will pick up 4th place, Kieran Roberts will pick up 5th, Thomas Potter manages to pick up 6th place, and Harry Dios will cross the line in 7th. I think Harley Connolly has either had a mistake or given that position back to Sam Chilton, but Thomas Potter, he was in, 9th place going on to the final lap and will cross the line in 6th. Thomas Potter, a brilliant result, finishing in 6th place. Harry Dios comes out of that with 7th. Sam Chilton, after a slightly hampered final lap, will cross the line in 8th. Harley Connolly in 9th. Olivia Kronoska will finish in 10th. And we've already seen Nathan Bell and Jordan Taylor cross the line in 11th and 12th, respectively. But Olivia Kronoska rounding out your top 10. Kyle Felbus, yet another win. That is 3 from 3 so far. Following on from Knock Hill. A few stewards' inquiries, I should imagine. Jordan Taylor maybe the look on the final lap at Kieran Roberts. And, of course, Harley Connolly and the Sam Chilton incident heading in towards Sunny Inn. But we still have another race on the way. Race number 2, a full reverse grid. So whilst the final lap didn't necessarily go Sam Chilton's way, he will edge his way up, I think, a row or two for the reverse grid. James Pepper retiring 6 laps from the end. And I don't think he will be eligible for that reverse grid. So we'll have to start at the very back. Again, what we will see is another opportunity to speak to Kyle, Nathan Williams, and Luke Sintler. Leo Bell somehow managing to get 4th place out of that with Kieran Roberts spun through 180 degrees. But back into the commentary box once again, Kyle. Every single session out of the past, 3, we've managed to grab a word with you. You were sort of defending at the start, and it seemed like you were getting a good run for your money off Nathan Williams at the start. But as soon as you sort of bridged that gap out to about a second, is that where the race really started to swing back your way out of the draft assistance, maybe?
Yeah, definitely. I think start of the race I was making a few mistakes, especially going into Sunny Inn, back section of the track. So after I, realised what to actually do, how to drive, made those mistakes and then changed them. Found some pace again, and then once I dropped the slipstream, I could just push from there and do some quali laps and managed to go 2 attempts faster than my quali lap. So.
And sort of the usual question that we ask at the end of race number 1 to our winner of race 2, starting not necessarily at the very back, because James Pepper, unfortunately, he pitched his car into retirement 6 laps from the end. So you will be on the penultimate row of the grid, but I do think it will give you the inside into turn number 1. What's the game plan going into that? Just sort of letting the race run for the first few laps and then go from there?
Yeah, definitely. First lap, just sort of watch what happens, find the gaps, go through the gaps, and then hopefully end up near the front like every week. So it's always the plan, and hopefully we can do it.
Well, fingers crossed, and again, hopefully we get another opportunity to speak to you at the end of the evening. But congrats on max points in race number 2. Of course, you put the car on pole, you got the fastest lap, and you got onto the top step of the podium. So the championship is very much swinging your way.
Cheers, Jack.
Brilliant. Cheers, Kyle. We also are joined by Nathan Williams. Nathan, P2, you were, again, a similar question I sort of posed to Kyle. You were there or thereabouts in the sort of first half of the race, maybe even a little bit more. Was it a mistake, or what was it that just really started to make you fall away? I think the gap was, what, 2.5 seconds come the end of the race?
Yeah, I think obviously at the start I was able to put my attack Kyle a bit, but then I think I just made a couple mistakes. And from there I think I dropped 1.5 seconds behind. And I just decided it's not worth trying to risk track limits and keep pushing because I wasn't going to gain back the gap. I think it's just trying to just take it back without getting caught by Luke or going over track limits.
And coming into this round, you were tied 4th in the championship, not only with Harley Connolly, but James Pepper as well. And you managed to finish in front of both of them in race number 1. Is the championship necessarily something you think about at this early stage in the season?
Not really. Obviously, I think I'm a bit behind after missing last round. So I think it's just trying to take each race as they come and just try and get as good position as possible. So hopefully bring myself up, hopefully 2nd or 3rd in the championship.
And that's your 2nd podium so far, of course, winning race number 1 of the season, the opening round at Donington Park. Are we going to see you back on form and potentially more podiums to come?
Yeah, hopefully.
Fingers crossed. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Nathan. Hopefully we get to talk to you again at the end of race 2.
Thank you.
Cheers, Nathan. Also joining us in the commentary box is Luke Sintler. Luke, P3 in race number 1. You following on from a quite a strong performance at Knockhill. Donington Park didn't necessarily go your way, but 2 second places at Knockhill, and following it up with a 3rd immediately at race number 1 here this evening. You've got to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I'm happy with how the race played out. It's becoming very hard to beat Kyle and Nathan, so coming 3rd behind them is pretty much as good as it gets in this championship for me. So yeah, I think the race went quite well.
And of course, the first opportunity we've had to speak to you this evening. Croft, how are you finding it? We spoke to Kyle and he said it's quite technical, but also quite flowing all at the same time. And of course, a very flat circuit, so you can't really utilise any elevation change or camber to almost alter the balance of the car. How are you finding it out there?
Yeah, like Kyle said, it's a very flowy track, which is a sort of track I enjoy, to be honest. So yeah, I'm enjoying driving Croft so far.
Good stuff. Well, congratulations on another podium in the PASR MX-5 Cup in race number 1. Hopefully we can talk to you again at the end of race 2.
Thank you.
Cheers, Harley. Luke, pardon me. So great to have a chat there with our top 2. Of course, the full reverse grid on the way. So this is where we slowly start to sort out how the championship will look towards the end of the evening. Jordan Taylor lines up on pole position, and Jordan went very well at Donington Park at the opening round of the season when he managed to start towards the front on the reverse grid. This time, he's starting on pole position. He managed to win race 2 at Donington Park. He managed to finish 3rd race 2 at Knockhill. The reverse grid races massively swing the way of Jordan Taylor. They seem to be his forte, this time on pole position. If he can get away well, we may see him disappear into the distance nice and early and build almost an insurmountable gap to the cars behind. We've also got Harley Connolly. We could see a good result from him. He's starting on the outside of row number 2. Sam Chilton, slightly hampered race number 1, but he showcased some brilliant pace and showed he has the racecraft to couple with that. He's starting 5th. Harry Dios 6th, again, definitely one to watch. And of course, we've got James Pepper at the very tail end of the order. Kyle Felbus, Nathan Williams and Luke Sintler, our top 3 from race number 1. We've got to keep an eye on those 3 carving their way up through the order. But Leo Bell really wasn't too far away. He just got caught up in some battles. But race number 2 will be getting underway in a few moments' time. We wait for the 6 red lights, and as soon as they extinguish, we will get race 2 on the way. So pole position, Jordan Taylor, 6 red lights on, and as they go out, blast off. Race number 2 is underway. It's a good start from Jordan Taylor, a poor start from Olivia Kronoska. She's immediately under attack from Sam Chilton. He pulls over to the left-hand side and will try and get in front. Yes, he has. By the time we get to Clairvaux. So into turn 1, all the way around the outside goes Jordan Taylor. He managed to pull over right the way over to the left-hand side of the circuit and take somewhat the usual racing line. So Jordan Taylor in the lead. There's contact in the background. Olivia Kronoska, Harry Dios, Harley Connolly caught up in that one. Who else managed to get caught up? James Pepper in the background. So too did Thomas Potter. He's pointing the wrong way. Kyle Felvers caught up in that one as well. So a lot of changing at the very start of the race. Crucial changes as well. And back to exactly where we were in race number 1. One of the Bells fighting away. That is Sam Chilton, this time up the inside of Nathan Bell compared to Leo Bell. And Sam Chilton up into P3. So Jordan Taylor already through and away in the lead from pole position, 7 tenths clear of Harley Connolly. Then we get to Sam Chilton up into 3rd, Nathan Bell 4th, Luke Sintler 5th, Kieran Roberts in 6th, and it's anyone's guess for 7th because Leo Bell and Nathan Williams absolutely side by side on their way through the Jim Clark S's on the run up towards Sunny Inn. Are they still going to be absolutely side by side? They were on the way in, but Nathan Williams later on the brakes grabbed the apex and up into 7th place. Leo Bell will now be trying to attack back in 8th. James Pepper is in 9th after starting off the very back row of the grid. Kyle Felvis is in 10th. And who is that? Pitching towards the barrier. That's Nathan Bell. Luke Sintler carving his way up through the inside. And that meant that Nathan Bell almost had very little to do in the way of stopping that from happening on the run in towards the complex. Back up to Nathan Williams in 6th. He's got to decide, does he go forward, does he go back? Because he's got Leo Bell behind, a quick driver in his own right. He's got Kieran Roberts, who's been getting quicker as the season wears on. He's up the road in 5th place. Up at the front, almost a second clear already is Jordan Taylor. Kyle Felvers up the inside that time of Nathan Bell on the run through the hairpin. Nathan Bell looks to try and fight back as we come over the line, but it's not quite worked for him. He didn't get the exit, I think. He on the road to Nathan's son, Leo. He's currently running in 7th place. He will want to run away from James Pepper, or can he play it into his own hands? He just dipped his wheel over the white line. You can see the camber of the circuit very slightly changed. That altered the balance of the car, swinging the rear axle almost through 90 degrees. If you're Leo Bell at this point, what do? Do you let James by and just try and stick with him? And because we know James is very quick indeed. No, defending is Leo Bell in towards Tower Bend. He holds the inside. James holds the outside. Almost had enough to make it work, but a bit of nose-to-tail contact. That fires Leo off the corner. It means that James has lost all that momentum that he carried through Tower Bend, and Leo will now be good for potentially an attack on Nathan Williams on the run up towards Sunny Inn. You can see debris, bits of grass and everything else flying up into the air as the cars get very greedy on the inside. Sam Chilton now under pressure from Luke Sintler. Of course, these two maybe not best of friends after race number 1, but Luke Sintler very close indeed in 4th place. This is the battle for the final step on the provisional podium. 17 minutes of this race still to go. Jordan Taylor already a second clear. Looking back from Sam Chilton, just washes wide, manages to keep the car on the road, but of course that compromises his entry in towards the complex. Luke Sintler very, very brave all the way around the outside, somehow finds the grip, jumps on the brakes, down a gear, pitches the car in towards the final corner, and Sam Chilton fights back. He looks up the inside, side by side, leaving the hairpin. I think Luke Sintler will have the best of the momentum on the run towards Clairvaux. Yes, he is. So Luke Sintler up into 3rd place, Sam Chilton down into 4th. Kieran Roberts has had the best seats in the house, and he's watching that all unfold up the road. Then we've got Nathan Williams and Leo Bell still fighting tooth and nail. We also have James Pepper still in on that little battle, so that trio really starting to rage on. There is Leo Bell, the meat in the sandwich at the moment. He's there or thereabouts with Nathan Williams. Any sort of mistake will be very costly indeed, because James Pepper is well and truly there and keeping him honest. A bit of damage on the front and rear of a couple of the cars, but that just shows how close the racing is in the Perfect Acceleration Sim Racing MX-5 Cup. Towards Tower Bend this time, Kieran Roberts, a bit of a look to the inside on Sam Chilton. Didn't quite get the move done there. Of course, Luke Sintler managed to work his way through and past over the start-finish line up into 3rd place. Sam Chilton, he wants to go back on the attack. However, he's got to continue worrying about the defence with Kieran Roberts being sat so close behind. A flash of the lights from Sam Chilton. I think just trying to force some sort of mistake from Luke Sintler. Now he's in front. Kieran Roberts, a look to the inside towards Sunny Inn. They almost make contact. The pair of them slightly too hot in, and you can see Nathan Williams breathing down the net, getting ever closer. He wants to get his way in towards the top 5. He looks towards the right-hand side. That will be the outside on the way into the complex. Then looks left, then looks right. Kieran Roberts, there was a couple of moves there. He'll have to be very, very careful indeed in that defending. You can only move once, and once only. However, there was a bit of a move left, a bit of a move right, and sure, Nathan Williams won't be over the moon with that one, but that's massively compromised his line on the way through the complex. James Pepper's making the most of this. He dives up the inside of Leo Bell. Up the road, it's getting closer again. That was Kieran Roberts and Sam Chilton getting together. Kieran Roberts up into 4th place now. Sam Chilton down into 5th, and he's got a train of cars behind him. Nathan Williams, Leo Bell, and Jordan Pepper. Jordan Pepper leaving the final corner was in front of Leo Bell. When we look back, they are back the positions that we saw them. So whether that was a small mistake from James Pepper or a missed gear, whatever it may be, I don't know. But James Pepper back down into 8th place. Leo Bell holds on to 7th. Nathan Williams still sat there in 6th, trying to make it 5th as he is really starting to close up onto the rear bumper of Sam Chilton. Sam Chilton does exactly what he needs to do, place the car in the middle of the road, starves him for room on the outside and towards Tower Bend. Very, very heavy on the brakes goes Sam Chilton. That opens the door not only for Nathan Williams, also for Leo Bell. James Pepper might try and follow the same gap, but Nathan Williams forced the mistake there. Clever driving. James Pepper doesn't get through, so he's got that crucial car between himself and his sparring partners up the road. So a brilliant quartet of cars, absolutely nose to tail. On the run up towards Sunny Inn, they've got to try and sort out which positions they want to be in. Nathan Williams in 5th, Leo Bell in 6th. They arrive at exactly the same time. Sam Chilton's so late on the brakes, dives his way up through the inside. That forces Leo Bell wide. James Pepper is now carving his way up through the inside, so Sam Chilton later on the brakes gains 1, loses 1, and pitches James Pepper into the spin and into the Armco barrier. James manages to just about get the car pointed straight again. But Sam Chilton, he's got the knack of this, hasn't he? He's really starting to get his elbows out, maybe too much, depending on who you ask. And Sam Chilton just about holding on to 6th place. Leo Bell, he will want to get that position back as soon as possible. Of course, losing that 6th place to Sam Chilton on the run in towards Sunny Inn. James Pepper, once again, he's got a lot of driving to do. Harry Dios has dived his way into the pit lane. Hopefully we can see a bit more from him. You can see him on the left-hand side of shot there, maybe getting a quick repair due to a bit of damage on the first lap. Sam Chilton, again, starving Leo Bell for room on the run up towards Clairvaux, but slightly deep on the brakes, washes him wide, and Leo Bell up the inside and up into 6th place. Sam Chilton back on the attack once again. All of this battling. Race 1 winner, Kyle Felvis, he's getting closer, right the way down in 8th place, of course, getting caught up in that incident on the first lap of the race. Jordan Taylor, he's back under pressure from Harley Connolly. There's only 6/10 separating those two, so he has definitely got closer as Harley. Whether that was a small mistake from Jordan, I don't know. We did see in race 1 the tail end of the car getting slightly lively from Jordan, maybe struggling with tyres towards the end of the race. Fastest lap of the race at the moment. I'll wait for my timing screen to refresh before I get back to you on that one. But Harley Connolly sat there in P2, definitely getting closer. If they do battle, Luke Sintler waiting in the wings at the moment. But of course, the pair of these two are HFT racing teammates, Harley Connolly and Jordan Taylor. So maybe we won't see them battle as much as potentially we would like to. Let's have a look. Fastest lap of the race is at the moment, I think Sam Chilton, no, that's a 35.3, pardon me, a 33.4 for Kyle Felvis is the fastest lap of the race. So Kyle Felvis showing outright pace this evening so far. Harley Connolly sat there in P2 within half a second now. The aerodynamic assistance will only get stronger the closer he gets to his HFT teammate. Over the line goes Luke Sintler and does set the fastest lap of the race, so 1 minute 33.352. So just as I mentioned it, Luke Sintler has proved me wrong and gone quicker still. There is Kyle Felvis in towards turn 1. You can see just how committed he is on the way through Clairvaux, keeping it within those yellow lines, or the white lines, pardon me. And through the chicane, he will go in a few moments' time, getting massively closer to the tail end of Sam Chilton. Up the road, we've got Nathan Williams and Kieran Roberts fighting absolutely side by side. Down the back straight we go, looking back from Nathan Williams, looking forward from Nathan Williams. We just can't quite spot Kieran Roberts. That's because he's absolutely door-to-door through Tower Bend, too wide. It doesn't quite work. Nathan Williams drops a wheel onto the grass. That will compromise his exit. Might lose a bit of momentum, but they're still side by side, are they? No, not this time through the Jim Clark S's. There's just a bit of an overlap, not enough to try and tuck back in. And Kieran Roberts holds on to 4th place. Some very sterling defending there from Kieran Roberts. Leaves the door open on the running towards Sunny Inn, however, and that allows Nathan Williams just to edge his way up through the inside, and it will be the inside for Sunny out once again. The outside will go his way if they're still side by side by the time we get to the complex. A bit of door-to-door contact, a slight bit of rubbing. The pair of them separate on the run through the quick left-hander, and Nathan Williams, who wanted to turn into the apex, Kieran Roberts was there, and they remain as they are, but in all of that, Leo Bell has massively got closer in 6th place, so it's 3 cars all fighting over the final spot in that top 4. Nathan Williams late on the brakes, dives to the inside through the final corner, and we come towards the line with half the race to go. So we've still got 10 minutes of racing action on the way. 3 wide towards the line. We've got Kieran Roberts on the inside, Nathan Williams in the middle, Leo Bell on the outside. He's got the best run of them all, I think. In towards turn 1, 1 into 1 sometimes doesn't go. 3 into 1 definitely won't. Kieran Roberts manages to hold on to 4th place, or does he? Because Nathan Williams later on the brakes, he dives up the inside, avoids the tyre bale, and they're still absolutely side by side. A bit of door-to-door contact that compromises Nathan's exit. So Kieran Roberts holds on to 4th place. Leo Bell side by side with Nathan Williams through the chicane. All of this battling has massively gone the way of Kyle Felvis. He started this lap in 6th. He might just about finish it in 4th if he carries on. Nathan Williams has lost out to Kyle Felvis. Leo Bell has lost out to Kyle Felvis in towards Tower Bend. Nathan, much later on the brakes, tries to swing his way all the way around the outside. This time, can he make it work? He tried it a lap ago. This time remains on the circuit. And we're going to end up with 6 cars fighting over the top 4 spots at the moment, or from 4th right the way down to 9th, pardon me. So Leo Bell still giving chase to Nathan Williams. Bouncing over the curbs goes Nathan, spitting all kinds of dust and dirt into the windscreen. Leo looked to the inside, tried to force the mistake, it didn't work. Nathan Williams slightly too deep on the brakes. You can see the geometry of the car change on the way in as the front wanted to push its way through. Kyle Felvis immediately on the attack, trying to have a go at Kieran Roberts. Nathan has tried it a few times and been unsuccessful, so it's Kyle's turn this time. Leo Bell still giving chase to Nathan Williams. With all this going on, Sam Chilton is very much on the coattails of this battle. So 5 cars all separated by under 2 seconds now into the final corner. Kieran Roberts going defensive. Kyle Felvis looks for the cutback, but Nathan Williams is trying to edge his way up through the inside. Too early on the throttle. That over-rotates the car and he gives up a bit of momentum. Kyle Felvis is forced to the outside on the run up towards Clairvaux. Leo Bell gets a good run across the line in towards turn 1. They will go in a few moments' time. Leo's shown the outside as well as Kyle. So how is this all going to play out? Kyle is brave enough to hold it around the outside, avoids the gravel. He's got the outside again for Hawthorne. Is he going to make it work? No, not this time. A bit of contact. Kieran Roberts spins through 360 degrees and onto the grass, unfortunately. So Kyle Felvis up into 4th place. Leo Bell manages to inherit 5th out of all of that, as I think Nathan Williams got slightly compromised by the spinning Kieran Roberts. So Nathan Williams down into 6th. Sam Chilton up into 7th. James Pepper up into 8th. And Kieran Roberts finally now recovers after that small mistake and maybe a slightly assisted mistake onto the grass. Nathan Williams again trying to attack back at Leo Bell. Looked to the outside, didn't quite work. Too deep on the brakes. He's now under pressure from Sam Chilton, who looks to the inside on the run towards the Jim Clark S's. There's contact between the pair of them. There was a bit of an overlap, and I don't think Sam Chilton quite spotted that, but right the way into the fields goes Nathan Williams. So too does Sam Chilton. And now we can catch our breath as that, 6-car battle comes to rest. So Nathan Williams down into 8th place, Sam Chilton down into 7th as James Pepper flies through to pick up what is 6th place. Further down the order, we've got Thomas Potter really starting to apply that pressure onto Olivia Kronoska. Through the Jim Clark S's they go, and then up towards a very quick right-hander before you dive your way onto the brakes in towards Sunny Inn. Thomas Potter a little look to the inside. That was just enough to force the door open, and Olivia Kronoska washes wide. So that means that Thomas Potter, up into the top 10 for now. No, he's not, because a slight mistake on the way out. Olivia Kronoska manages to pick up 10th place. Thomas Potter back down into 11th. This battle will still rage on as Olivia Kronoska gets slightly out of touch with the grip level in that Mazda through the complex. The tail of the car washed very slightly wide. That allows Thomas Potter to again reassert himself onto the tail of Olivia Kronoska. Nathan Bell, he'll be watching this all unfold and hoping maybe they continue to battle and he can draw himself ever closer. The lead gap still half a second, but Harley Connolly not really closing up too much. Luke Sintler is now within half a second of Harley Connolly, so the top 3 separated by only a second. Olivia Kronoska too quick into turn 1. She washes wide, and there is the gravel trap I mentioned, but Thomas Potter falls foul of the same mistake on the run through Hawthorne, so he gets away with it slightly lightly because he doesn't have gravel to worry about. It's just all asphalt out there, meaning that Thomas Potter does indeed hold on to 10th place. Olivia Kronoska down into 11th. Thomas Potter, I think, keeping an eye on his rearview mirror there, just wanting to go left, wanting to go right. Olivia Kronoska gives it a go up the inside. Thomas Potter gives a room, and Olivia Kronoska back up into the top 10. So Olivia up into 10th, Thomas Potter down to 11th, and like I say, Nathan Bell, he's got the best seats in the house, and he's going to be part of this in a few moments' time because he's, only 8 tenths away, sat there in 12th place. So a brilliant battle between the pair of these two. But at the moment, like I say, those top 3 separated by less than a second. And Luke Sintler lapping in the 1:33s, much quicker than those 2 cars up the road. Thomas Potter back up the inside of Olivia Kronoska, so back into the top 10. There is Nathan Bell. He's trying to make good his move and up into 11th place potentially. He's got the overlap on the way in. Through the complex, he's got to brave it out around the outside. Maybe not this time. Olivia Kronoska washes slightly wide. Everything will go back the way of Nathan Bell. Through the complex, Thomas Potter has tried to bridge that gap, whilst Olivia is more or less distracted with Nathan Bell. Up towards these top three, we've been keeping an eye on him. Luke Sintler, he's been lapping quicker, dives his way up through the inside. Harley Connolly in response tried to brake late, but it meant that he went far too deep in towards Tower Bend. So Luke Sintler up into the top two now. Harley Connolly down to P3. Jordan Taylor no longer has his rear gunner and has only got a second gap between himself and Luke Sintler, so he's got to try and make good his escape now, still with just under 5 minutes of the race to go. In towards Sunny Inn, Luke Sintler in his newly inherited second place, now running away from Harley Connolly as he washed very slightly wide on the way through Sunny Inn, bounced over the grass, as you can see, compromised his momentum and has already started to fall away from Luke Sintler. Luke is already starting to, I think, attack Jordan Taylor within a second very briefly there. So the Racing 58, number 58 machine into the hairpin this time, still within a second. Nathan Bell has fallen away from Olivia Kronoska. That's because Olivia again has started to fight back against Thomas Potter, absolutely side by side through the Jim Clark S's. On the way in, on the way out, still side by side. Olivia Kronoska potentially still with the inside on the run through the quick right-hander. Yes, absolutely so. Nails the curb on the run in towards Sunny Inn. Last of the late breakers. Much later on the brakes is Olivia. She manages to get the apex. Thomas Potter slightly compromised as I think Olivia may have missed a gear there. She now flicks the car into Sunny out. What has gone wrong here for Olivia? Thomas Potter spins through 90 degrees and onto the grass. I think slightly assisted there by Nathan Bell. Thomas Potter, unfortunately, he's all come undone and will drop down into 12th place. Nathan Bell up into 11th, and Olivia Kronoska now needs to focus on running away. Luke Sintler right the way up at the top end of the order. We've gone from the very back to the very front. He's definitely getting closer to Jordan Taylor. 3.5 minutes of the race to go. 6/10 separating our race leader and Luke Sintler. Harley Connolly has fallen away almost to the tune of about a second now. Kyle Felvis, since he's got his way up to 4th, there is that insurmountable gap we mentioned at the start of race 2, 8 seconds. Unless it all goes wrong at the front, Kyle Felvis is only good for 4th, but still a good haul of points for Kyle if he manages to get that one. Who has got the fastest lap of the race so far? Is it Kyle Felvis on a 1:33.136? Yes, it is. Is it? No, it isn't. James Pepper, actually, pardon me, a 1:33.101 from James Pepper, so he is going to inherit that fastest lap point at the moment. Still 3 minutes of the race to go, but of course tyre wear will slowly start to play a part. The cars are getting lighter as the fuel load drops. Luke Sintler definitely getting closer. Looking back, we've got Nathan Williams recovering from the earlier accident. He's trying to edge his way up and alongside Sam Chilton. They were side by side very briefly on the way out of Sunny Out, but Nathan Williams, he's trying to carve his way up through the inside. Doesn't quite work for him. Sam Chilton, with again maybe a missed gear, comes straight over the nose of Nathan Williams. Nathan did what he could to avoid it. Didn't quite make it work. So there was a bit of contact between the pair of them. Sam got the car squared away and remained on the circuit, but Nathan Williams around the outside. He'll get on the throttle earlier and carry that momentum. Brilliant move from Nathan Williams all the way around the outside at the final corner. Sam Chilton down into 8th place. He's got to be careful not to fall into the clutches of Kieran Roberts. The timing just slightly swapping around there, but Jordan Taylor still leading the race ahead of Luke Sintler. Luke Sintler in P2. Through Tower Bend they go once again. And Harley Connolly, I guess he's just watching on without too much he can do at this point in P3. Looking back from Jordan Taylor, you can see just how close Luke Sintler is. And Jordan will know that. He will see it in his rear view mirror and see Luke has been getting closer and closer and closer. Last time through, Luke Sintler with a 1:33.352. Jordan Taylor with a 1:33.766. So Luke is definitely the quicker of the two at this stage of the race. Well and truly within touching distance now. Luke will try and size up Jordan Taylor. Look for the move. He hasn't got too much time to almost investigate as to where Jordan is slightly weaker, but you can see just how confident Luke is on the brakes. Massively closed up on the way into the complex. In towards the hairpin again. Luke slightly closes up, but the wider line taken from Jordan. That might slingshot him onto the straight. No, it won't if he jumps on the throttle that early. The tail end of the car gets slightly unsettled on the absolute edge of grip. Onto the final lap of the race we go. Jordan Taylor over the line with a 34.1. Luke Sintler with a 33.8. So he's definitely still quicker. In towards Clairvaux they go. Nailing the curb is Jordan Taylor. A bit of a moment. Got the car again just straightened up. You can see the rear of that car not quite settled. Dancing away on the edge of grip through the chicane. This is where we should see Luke Sintler slowly start to edge closer and closer with the aerodynamic assistance. Harley Connolly only a second away. If they continue to battle, we may see on the very final laps the driver in 3rd get up to 1st place. But Luke Sintler this time, you can see the overlap is there on the brakes in towards Tower Bend. Luke Sintler all the way around the outside, decides maybe not this time, but I'm afraid that'll be the last time in towards Tower Bend. So if he's going to get the move done, it will have to be in the final half of this lap. But Jordan Taylor still leading the way to the tune of what, half a second this time. Luke Sintler, he's got a bit of time to find, and he's running out of opportunities to apply himself on towards an overtake. Harley Connolly has edged himself slightly closer. Kyle Felvers showcasing his pace. Last time we looked, it was 8 seconds. This time, 6.6. So Kyle Felvers definitely getting closer. Looking back from Jordan Taylor, Luke Sintler is well and truly there. It's going to have to be a very committed move in towards the complex. He's got to decide between inside and outside. Inside, well and truly the preferred, but if you can hold it around the outside, it will swap itself to the inside, almost contact between the pair of them. He gave it a go, but Luke Sintler, I fear he is now out of options in towards the complex. A snatched break, that washes him wide of the apex, but Jordan Taylor into the final corner for the final time this evening, and will just about manage to keep Luke Sintler behind. So towards the line comes Jordan Taylor. He's led from lights to flag, reverse grid pole, and another win for Jordan Taylor over the line. Max points in race number 2. Luke Sintler, he fought for it and only managed second. Harley Connolly rounds out the podium, and then Kyle Felvers from the very back of the grid in a bit of a moment at the start of the race. A brilliant recovery drive to 4th. And Leo Bell will cross the line in 5th. James Pepper, not the best race 1, a bit of a compromised race 2. He will get 6th place. Nathan Williams over the line to finish in 7th. And then we await the arrival of Kieran Roberts. He's just working his way out of the final corner now towards the line and will finish 8th place. Sam Chilton, a fairly busy debut night, I would say, for Sam. He's had a bit of a moment in race 1 and more moments in race 2. And I fear out of fuel is Sam. He was good for 9th place towards the line. However, through the complex, that car in towards retirement. So Olivia Kronoska will inherit 9th place. A brilliant performance from Olivia tonight. There was some very hard battling between herself and Nathan Bell and Thomas Potter as well. But over the line comes Olivia Kronoska to finish in 9th place. Nathan Bell crosses the line to finish in 10th. And Thomas Potter, the last of our finishes, in 11th. Sam Chilton, unfortunately, into retirement on the final lap of the race, running out of fuel. And Harry Dios retiring, 9 laps from the end. But what an advert that is for the series. Race number 2 closer than ever. And we can get pretty much all the views and opinions from Jordan Taylor. Jordan, you join us in the commentary box after a race to win. You've led from lights to flag. You nailed the start and built that gap early. I'd imagine it got pretty tense towards the end, seeing Luke Sintler get bigger and bigger in that rearview mirror.
No, I wasn't too bothered, to be honest. I know that sounds big-headed of me, but in these cars, it's really hard to overtake around here for some reason. I guess everyone's doing the same lines, and you're all stopping and accelerating at the same point. So if you try break that bit later, it's just too much. So I knew he'd had to. He knew. Oh, that wasn't English. I knew he would have had to get slipstream on me and then try to do me like that, which he tried doing. I just put my car in the middle of the track and prevented him from getting past.
Well, it seemed to work for you 100%, and we said it at the start of race 2. Your forte is definitely in sort of race 2 results, of course, winning the first race 2 of the season at Donington Park. You finished 3rd last time out at Knockhill, and you're following that up with another win in race 2 this evening. Is it something about the reverse grid? What is it? Is it maybe the slight shuffle in the order that throws a few people off their off their rhythm that you just capitalise on early?
Personally, I don't think I should be first right now. In race 1, I was a lap down, so I thought I was going to be starting from the back. So I'm lucky to be here. But the race 2 results recently, Knockhill was alright. I started in the mid pack, but Donington I started at the front again, or the top 3, just due to contact and me having loads of damage. So I dropped back to the back of the pack, and then I got that the top spots for race 2, whereas your likes of Kyle and Nathan, they're finishing the podium, like Luke as well, and coming through. So ideally, I'm not best pleased myself with tonight. I know I got a win, but with being lapped due to me having to pit because the damage doesn't really feel that good. But hopefully we can have 2 top 3 finishes next week. We'll see.
Well, yeah, fingers crossed. Of course, we head to Castle Combe in a week's time, so we'll look forward to that. But everyone else is in the same position, so the win this evening very much deserved. And you did have to sort of pick your feet up towards the end, because Luke was definitely getting closer. But before we do let you go, anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Kyle, because I would probably still be playing around with the pressures for no reason. But he gave me his, and obviously he's quick, so I went with them, and I was just finding the pace through the night. So yeah, just shout out to him for actually helping me and not struggle.
Great stuff. Cheers, Jordan. Great to have a chat, and congratulations on race 2 win this evening. So we also have Luke Sintler in the commentary box. Luke, oh, what if? Maybe one more lap and you would have been there. You were definitely getting closer. Fastest car on track in that sort of top 5 in the latter stages of the race. You must have been getting sort of pretty hot under the collar towards the very few laps.
Yeah, I think a few laps more, and I definitely could have taken the win. I tried pulling a dummy move on Jordan at the hairpin, and it didn't work out, so I dropped back a bit. I managed to close the gap again at the last corner, but I just couldn't get past him. Like he said, it's a very hard track to overtake on in these cars, so I was kind of sitting behind him, learning where he was slower than me on the track, and seeing if I could overtake him anywhere, but it just wasn't possible in the race.
But surely 2 podiums from 2 this evening. That's got to be a pretty good motivator heading into Castle Combe. How do you feel heading into that one? Of course, it's a circuit we don't necessarily see on too many calendars, but you went there in the Junior Saloon Car Championship E Series, so motivation's high.
Yeah, of course, I can't complain at 2 podiums tonight, and Castle Combe's also a track that I'm looking forward to. I was looking forward to Croft, and I'm looking forward to Combe, so yeah, I'm quite happy going into Combe. Just try and carry the momentum that I've had from the previous 2 races, and I should be good.
Good stuff. Well, congratulations on a stellar performance, not only in race 1, but race 2 as well. So it's been a fairly good night from you. Before we let you go, anybody you'd like to say a quick thank you to?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my family for supporting my racing, and again PASR for putting on the race tonight. It's been very good.
Terrific stuff. Cheers, Luke, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you very much.
Harley Connolly, you joined me in the commentary box. You were second for such a long time, and it's not like you didn't have to fight to get there. It was quite a busy start to the race. As soon as you got there, though, you were managing that gap to your teammate quite well, and it seemed that as soon as Luke got there, whether it was an optimistic move, I don't know, but as soon as he got in front, you were more or less left without too much to do. But 3rd place, still a podium, still a good haul of points.
Yeah, I made a mistake when Luke was behind me, so it cost me quite a few seconds. I just slowly started losing time. I'll happily take 3rd again. I had a bad race 1 because of damage. I was driving 90 degrees. It was horrible, but I got my way up to 3rd, so I was happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a lot to be proud of, especially with how close the championship is showing it can be. Similar question that we asked Luke just a few moments ago. Heading into Castle Combe, is that a circuit you like, a circuit you don't? Talk us through your thoughts going into that one.
Yeah, I like Combe a lot. It's a nice track. Yeah, it went well in the Saxos last time, so hopefully the same thing happens here. If I get some practice in this time, and hopefully it should go alright for me.
And in terms of the championship as well, of course, the championship is only going to get closer because drop scores can change and ebb and flow throughout the season. And of course, some drivers may have a week out or whatever it may be. Just going off this evening and how close the racing can be, surely the championship is maybe something that will start to play on your mind a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I don't know where I am after tonight because I keep having bad race 1s and then sort of making it up race 2. So it just depends how all that happens. But we'll see what happens at the end of the season.
Yeah,
it can go as well.
Yeah, I guess all will be revealed at Brands Hatch. But thank you for joining us in the commentary box. Congratulations on a podium in race number 2. Anybody you'd like to say a quick thank you to before we let you go?
Yeah, Jordan and Carl again for the practice, and then Paul for always being there and that. So yeah, thank you.
Terrific stuff. Cheers, Harley. We'll see you next week.
Cheers, Joe.
So, I mean, what a way to end an evening in the PASR MX-5 Cup, of course. We've already ticked off Donington Park, Knockhill, and now Croft, and we've still got it all to do again. Castle Combe next week, 29th of February, same time, same place. Please do make sure you join us for that one. If you've missed any of the rounds prior to this, do go back and watch those as well. They were just as close as this evening. Alton Park the week after Castle Combe, and then we round out the 6th-round season on the 14th of March at Brands Hatch on the GP layout. So, what an advert for the series this was. I feel like we need to say that every week, but we just managed to one-up ourselves in the PASR MX-5 Cup. It just shows how close we really can race. Of course, a massive thank you to 2F Media Productions, Tom, showing us all of the fabulous images we can see this evening, 3M Racewear, Pro Simrig, and Mongrip Monte Carlo for allowing us to do everything we can here at PASR. Of course, Mick for putting it all together. But from myself, Jack Werrell, thank you so much for watching round number 3 of the PASR MX-5 Cup. We'll see you next week at Castle Combe. Bye-bye.